If you're from Africa and you want to get asylum in the United States, then you need to see this video. There's a bias against you that you probably don't even know about. As a former asylum officer, I've seen firsthand how the system can be stacked against African asylum seekers. It's much harder than it should be to win asylum in America if you're from Africa. But I'm going to tell you exactly how to overcome these challenges and win your asylum case. We're going to cover the hidden biases affecting African asylum cases, share real statistics that are going to shock you, and most importantly, I'm going to give you concrete strategies to maximize your chances for success. You need to understand these critical insights about how your case will be viewed. I'm going to help you get there, and we're starting right now. I'm Brian Manning, and I used to be an asylum officer with the government, but now, as an asylum lawyer, I help immigrants all over the country to secure their future in America through asylum. Let me know in the comments if you've got an asylum case pending, or maybe you're considering applying. And listen, I'd especially like to hear from you if you've been waiting for an asylum interview with USCIS for multiple years. Let me know how long. So I won't mince words. It's not easy to win asylum in America as an asylum seeker from Africa. The numbers tell a disturbing story about African asylum cases in the United States, especially during the Trump years. So during the Trump administration, approval rates for African asylum seekers plummeted by 43%, a steeper decline than any other region except South Asia. And these weren't just numbers. These were lives affected, families separated, and dreams deferred. Let's look at some specific countries. So Cameroon's approval rate at the asylum office hovers around 51%, which is much higher than the overall national approval rate. But it should be much, much higher in light of the US State Department's own documentation of mass killings, widespread torture, and extreme violence. In fact, conditions are so bad that the Department of Homeland Security recently designated Cameroonians for temporary protected status. Yet, at the asylum office, Cameroonians face an uphill battle. Nigeria's situation is even more striking. From 2016 to 2020, approval rates for Nigerian asylum seekers dropped by a staggering 71%, from 65% to just 19% approved. A more than 2/3 decline, even as conditions in Nigeria continued to deteriorate. And the approval rate has stayed around 20% in recent years. That means just 1/5 of Nigerians are getting approved, a number that is, in my professional opinion, entirely too low. Listen, there are way more deserving Nigerian asylum applicants than these numbers reflect. It's truly a shame. So for Uganda, where I've seen many legitimate claims based on political persecution and LGBTQ+ status, approval rates fell dramatically under Trump and have only partially recovered. And in Kenya, despite well-documented political persecution, gender-based violence, and LGBTQ+ cases, approval rates remain troublingly low. By the way, if you want to maximize your chances for asylum success, then be sure to hit the subscribe button and the bell notification so that you don't miss the insights that I share on this channel. These statistics expose a disturbing pattern, but what's even more concerning is how these numbers vary by asylum office. For example, in 2020, the Los Angeles Asylum Office granted asylum to just 18% of Cameroonian applicants, less than half the national average of 51%. These office-by-office disparities show how where you file your asylum application can significantly impact your chances for success. Let's now talk about what's really happening here. Why is it especially difficult for people from Africa to win asylum in America? Well, first, there's the issue of implicit bias. As a former asylum officer, I saw how some officers approached African cases with unwarranted skepticism. They questioned the authenticity of documents without understanding the challenges of obtaining official records in many African countries, in a way that they did not do when it came to people from other regions. There's just this pervasive sense at the asylum office that if the case is from Africa, it warrants extra scrutiny, as if the entire continent can't be trusted. It was the worst when it came to Nigeria. I had colleagues who would straight up say something like, "Oh, another Nigeria case, must be fraud," when they picked up a case file from Nigeria. It was like they almost had their mind made up before ever considering the documents or even interviewing the asylum applicant. It's hard to change someone's mind when that's their attitude going into the case. But I unfortunately have to go even further than implicit bias. I'm sad to say that I do think racism is pretty rampant at the asylum office, which I guess is not a surprise given the history of explicit racism in our immigration laws and policies. But even if you aren't paired with a biased or racist asylum officer, things are still likely to be tough for you if you're an African asylum seeker. You see, there's also just a cultural disconnect. Many officers lack understanding of African political and social dynamics. They may not grasp the complexities of tribal conflicts, for example, or the real dangers of political opposition, or the nuances of, let's say, gender-based persecution in African contexts. Ignorance plays a large role in this. Unfortunately, too many asylum officers have little to no interest in learning about foreign countries, much less visiting places abroad, other than the handful of Western European countries that Americans tend to vacation in. Documentation presents another unique challenge. Many African asylum seekers struggle to obtain official documents from their home countries, and some asylum officers interpret this lack of documentation as a credibility issue without understanding that requesting documents from the very government you're fleeing can put you or your family in danger. So yeah, unfortunately, as someone seeking asylum in America from an African nation, the deck is stacked against you. You go into the process at a disadvantage. But here's the thing, you can overcome these challenges. I've seen it happen, and we've helped a lot of African asylum seekers do exactly that. You've got to be extra thorough and careful in presenting your case on paper and work extra hard in preparing for your asylum interview. So at my law firm, we've had lots of success in helping African asylum seekers win their case using our 3-part Asylum Action Plan. So first is our Asylum Road Map. This is a powerful tool that can dramatically increase your chances for asylum success. As a former asylum officer, I can tell you that officers love it when applicants submit clear, well-organized documentation that helps the officer understand the case. The Asylum Road Map does exactly that. It's a filing that provides the officer everything they need to see to understand that you qualify for asylum before you ever step foot in their office. Through your declaration, relevant country conditions information, and carefully selected evidence, we create a roadmap that shows the officer precisely how to get to the answer yes in your case in the easiest way possible. We're going to work with you to develop a powerful, compelling declaration that frames your case perfectly. We'll collaborate to identify and secure evidence that backs up your claims. Knowing exactly what kind of evidence is most important is key to presenting the strongest case possible. Now, crucially, this filing, the Asylum Roadmap, also includes a legal brief where we're connecting the dots, applying the facts to the law, and doing the legal analysis that shows how you meet all of the asylum requirements. Now, we craft this brief based on my experience as a former asylum officer. Now, the next step in our Asylum Action Plan, step 2, is preparation, which consists of a mock interview and a follow-on debrief session. It's like a dress rehearsal for the real thing. Having conducted thousands of interviews myself as an immigration officer with the government, I know what questions you'll face and how to answer them effectively. We'll practice the hardest questions, work through any inconsistencies, and ensure you're ready to address all aspects of the case. And after the full-scale mock interview, we'll review your performance in detail, identifying areas for improvement so that you'll be fully prepared when it really counts. You can go into your real interview with confidence, ready to do a great job. Our preparation process is the key to unlock success in your asylum interview. Now, finally, the third step in our Asylum Action Plan is the representation on the day of your interview. Having representation at your interview means that you've got someone there who knows asylum law inside and out, ensuring your rights are protected and that you have the best possible chance to present your case effectively. We make sure the officer understands exactly why you deserve asylum. And as a former asylum officer myself, I know exactly how to help you navigate this critical moment in your immigration journey. Listen, it's true that the system is biased, but it's not insurmountable. With the right preparation and the right help, you can overcome these challenges and win your case. If you're ready to take the next step and get help with your asylum case, then please call my office today. That number is 713-909-0401. And remember, we help people all over the country, so it doesn't matter where you live. Call us right now to schedule an asylum strategy session so that we can help you to secure your future in America through asylum. Again, I'm Brian Manning, and it's truly an honor to serve you in your asylum journey.